So in this video, we're going to look at plugging our values from our spreadsheet into the area of shapes, an area of a square and the area of a circle. And when we do this, we need to be very careful, because if we simply plug the values into the width and height of the square, or if we simply plug the values into the radius of the circle, we will misrepresent and distort the data, which we can't do. Alrighty, so here's our scene. Let's start from scratch. Make a square with the square selected. I'm going to duplicate it, make it linear. And then I'm going to import a spreadsheet, which is over here. Share. Anyone on the internet. Copy link. Back to Cavalry. Import Google Sheet. Okay. Drag that into the timeline. Select an array. Remap it. So to start, I'm going to plug this. I'm going to do it the wrong way. All right, and then we'll have a comparison. I'm going to plug this into the shape scale of X and the shape scale of Y. All right, now it's gigantic. So let's turn that down. All right, and how many slots were in our spreadsheet? I think it was 6. Make this a little bigger. All right. Oh, maybe because it's 6, we'll do this. We'll do a grid of 3 by 2. All right, so let's call this wrong. All right. So the next, let's do this again. I'll click on the square. I'm going to make a grid. I'll move it over here so we can compare. We'll make it 3 by 2. I will plug. Oh, well, okay. So we need to do something. So let's talk about that for a second. If we go to our Notion page, I have some diagrams explaining what is happening. Okay? So if the quantity, the number was 4, to get 4, you actually need to have the square root of 4 by the square root of 4 multiplied, and that'll give you 4, right? If we plug 4 and 4 into each other, you're going to get 16. So that's not good. So what we're looking for is this. The square root of our number, our value, by the square root of our value, and then the area is still 4. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 16. Why this is important is for things like this. So this is an example I came across where they're trying to show like the diminishing value of the dollar, and people are thinking, well, oh my gosh, my dollar gets me, I don't know, a quarter of what it would when Eisenhower was president. But in reality, if you were to really map area, like each of these dollar size represent their value, it would actually be, Eisenhower would be over here. So that's a pretty big difference, and that really changes how people perceive the information. So let's go back to here. And there's two ways to do this. We can either do the math in the spreadsheet, or we can do the math in Cavalry. Let's do the math in Cavalry first. So we need a node called math, very convenient. All right. And then we're going to plug our sheets into the first value. And then we're going to set the math mode to square root. And then we're going to take the square root out of math. And we're going to plug it into the shape scale of x and y. All right. Now, if I kind of spread this thing out a little bit, move this one up, and, you know, try to make them about the same. You'll see that there's much less difference in size when you do this correctly. All right. So let's talk about radius next. The same kind of idea, but the math is slightly more complicated. So this time we'll start with a circle. We'll bring an instance of our fruit into the timeline. We will set it to amount. We will set it to number range, 0 to 10. We make this 3. We'll plug this. All right, so we have some numbers. Before I plug it in, let's see what's happening. So I'm going to go back here, and we're going to look at the other example. So in this one, to get the radius, the area of the circle, to equal the number, we need to create this little equation here, which is the square root of n divided by pi. And I could show you how to derive that, but it doesn't really matter, okay? Just take my word for it. If you just plug the radius in, once again, it's going to be way too big a difference between your values, okay? So let's see, how could we do this? Maybe we're going to do this one. Let's do this one in the spreadsheet. All right, so we're going to create an equation that's going to spit out the radius we need, okay? So let's see, when you're doing math in a spreadsheet, you go equals, and what we're looking for the square root, and as I type, it's helping me out, of our number, which in this case is 3, divided by pi, which I'm just going to make it simple, 3.14. All right. And I hit enter, and that gives me a number. And if I want to apply this to the whole column, what I do is I just drag it down. Because when you put a variable, in this case B2, into the spreadsheet and you bring it down, it's a relative position. All right. So let's go back to Cavalry. Let's make some more circles. make it 3 by 2. Okay, and then we're gonna plug, not the number range. Oh yes, the number range, true. We're gonna plug the, ooh, we need to reload it. Okay, so I changed something, but it's not showing up. So what you do is just go to your spreadsheet, reload. That's good, I'm glad that came up actually. All right, so we want radius. Radius, our range goes from 1 point, this number, 1.785 to 0. Go back here. 1.785 as our max, and our minimum is 0. And then we're going to take that and plug it into the radius of our ellipse. And if I do this, it'll be one at a time, and if I just put it over here, it's going to do both. I hope. Nope. Radius. Oh well. I guess I do have to do it one at a time. All right, then I can adjust my range and I get my graph. Maybe it's something like this. Let's bring in our labels. So we'll call this one fruit. And then we're gonna do text, and we'll duplicate our text, and we'll rename this labels. All right, and let's see here. We'll call this rename it driver, because we want our labels to line up with our fruit. So let's see, I'll take the size of fruit, plug it into size. Awesome, good start. We'll make this center middle. We'll make it poppins. It's free and pretty nice. Make it way smaller. Oh yes, and I have too many. All right, and they are invisible because they're the same color as our circles, so let's fix that. Drop the background. Cool. All right, and then we need another one of these. We're gonna call this one labels. I mean, we could call this one radius. I'm gonna plug labels into our text shape. Yep. And we don't want radius, we want fruit, and the number range, no. All right. And I mean, what could we do? We could make this a little bigger. All right. We could plug some colors into this. Let's find some good starting colors. So I grab a palette, create an array, plug the array into the fill color. Ooh, actually, I don't want to do that. I want to plug it into the fill color of my ellipse because I like the type being a knockout. And then let's see, I got 6 fruit and 5 colors. So let's add another one. And yeah, let's see. Banana. That. And lemon. Like so. And lime. Yellow. And plum is pretty plum. And apple. Pinky red. And orange is orange. Whoops. Orange is this one. I think it's hard to keep track of them. You know, actually, what we could do is we could store the color values in our spreadsheet too, and just link to them in an array so we could keep track of what was what color, and it would kind of do it automatically. All right. Cool.